Hello, hello, hello. That's how Chowie introduces the podcast. Welcome to the Wisdom of Womanhood podcast. I'm your co-host Pippa, and I've got a beautiful guest with me today, Chowie Moon. Returning the beautiful favor. Today it's all about Chowie and her magic, her energy,
Mm.
her purpose, her gifts, her work. And I think it's really important to bring this to the podcast as well, because you hear us every week talking about, different topics, bringing you our personal insights and stories and wisdom. But deep down, where's all that coming from, and what are we doing behind the scenes to learn and grow? And so I'm excited to learn more about Showie again today. So welcome to the show, Showie.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be on the greatest podcast of all time,
Yes, definitely.
simultaneously with conscious combos and sex with my ex and journey with Michael Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah, it is amazing. I love it so much. I am just gonna let you know if I look tired or I yawn, it's just because I'm having one of those. I think baby's having a growth spurt, and I've had a few days where I'm just wiped. So all you mamas out there, you'd be like, yes, totally feel you. So I think from my perspective, asking you, Showie, I know you work, I know the beautiful magic that you provide people. Let's go back on your journey. Where did that begin?
Oh my gosh. uh so it was super interesting hearing your story last week because I also got into personal development from starting up with a network marketing company.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Yeah. So about ooh, 8, 9 years ago. Um, yeah. So and actually, it was interesting when you were talking about The Secret. So when I was 14, I was given The Secret to read, and at the time, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" I just didn't like it. Just really didn't land. I was not at the place. And then like years later came back across it. I was like, wait a minute. And then was at the time in the place for me to be able to really receive some of that wisdom. But yeah, so in terms of kind of starting off getting to the work and stuff that I do, yeah, would have started with reading personal development books, going to conferences all over the world, leadership conferences. I've been on training calls with Marissa Peer. I went to a conference where Mel Robbins was the keynote speaker, and at that time she was like the number one um, motivational speaker in the world. That would have been in Las Vegas in like 2017, 2018 or something like
Yeah.
that. Um, so yeah, I just kind of dove into some personal development stuff alongside an awesome community of people that I was working alongside. And then that started down the road of unlocking a lot of my own programming, my own belief systems. First book that I read was You're a Badass by Jen Sincero, and something just like switched in me. I realized that I could take control of my life more. I've been living in such deeply traumatic responses in my body for so long. And, I'd been to counseling for postnatal depression and post-traumatic stress disorder and things like that. And that definitely helped. However, I think before I started reading like personal spiritual development and stuff, I honestly think I was kind of like, this is as good as I'm going to get. I was like, okay, I'm a little bit fucked and I've experienced some pretty fucking traumatic shit in my life. And I was like, I'm kind of doing all right. I've stopped cycles of abuse. I can hold down a job. I'm kind of learning about myself. And I really thought that was the capacity of me in my life. And then I started learning, about belief systems and programming and all these things. And that's when I realized that there was so much more that was available and that I could create new pathways in my brain, that I could do all of that. So I started doing that. I did all the things. I did the affirmations, the meditations, the hypnosis, reading constantly. Like I just read all the time. And then I came across Reiki, maybe like 7 years ago. and did my Reiki level 1, kept going, did my level 2, level 3 masters, and found a lot of healing in energy work, a lot of healing. I was receiving Reiki regularly. I was like had regular clients, and yeah, started then down the somatic journey of healing. So it had been like very much brain orientated and cognitive reprogramming, and then discovered breathwork and a lot of these things. And I realized I was becoming the living evidence of this work and how it can change your life. And once I got that, I just remember thinking, I fucking need to do something with this. Like I don't just know this, and I'm not experiencing this solely for me. Like I remember thinking the things that have happened prior, like in my past, and really icky kind of things, they kind of been for nothing. And I also feel as if I'm learning these tools because they're meant to be shared. And then lockdown happened, and I was still in my teaching career at that point. So I had 2 jobs within the education sector. And then vaccine mandates were brought out in New Zealand, and I was fired from my teaching career. I chose not to get vaccinated. I never have been vaccinated. It was already part of my upbringing, my childhood with my dad and my stepmom, my values, my beliefs. I, choose to look after my body in a multitude of ways. And when I chose not to vaccinate, I was fired out of my career. That had been like a 10-year career in teaching. And what happened after then was that I had a choice. Like I either choose to, go down the victim mindset of like, poor fucking me.
Yeah.
And not to say that it was okay. Like it wasn't okay. And there was a lot of grief around that time. And it was really heartbreaking. And mainly for the kids that I was working with, and the impact that it was going to have on them. Or I go, okay, so what is my fucking life purpose? Because to be completely honest, I was staying in the teaching industry, but that wasn't my life purpose in the
Yeah.
way that it was. And I already kind of had my wellness business. Like I was seeing some Reiki clients. I was still working on myself, and that was the catalyst. So from that point, I just dove in, and I was like, okay, here we go. Okay, universe, let's work this out. And bearing in mind, I was and still am like a single parent of 3 kids, the only income earner in a home. So it's not as if it was, oh, yay, this is going to be really fun. It was like, you have to fucking do this now.
Mm.
Like, if you're going to do this, you need to do it, and you need to take it seriously. And you're going to have to learn how to run a business. You're going to have to learn like how to advertise and how to, do social media and all of these things. I had to learn all of these skills that I had no previous knowledge of. I had no training in. I had no understanding of, in order to bring the gifts that I knew people needed, and also in order to provide for my family.
Mm.
And yeah, fast forward to now, and I have continued to upskill, trained in somatic therapy, did my trauma-informed coaching certificate, now work with Totokumai, an amazing agency, sexual harm prevention agency that I love, which is cool because I've kind of blended my love for education, because I go and work in high schools, with the work that I think is really
Mm.
important, healthy relationship education, consent education, all of these pieces. Yeah, and then I still have all of my own clients. And now I also have expanded into running workshops. Yeah, so trauma informed workshops, stress management workshops, conscious relationship workshops. I am presenting them to universities, polytechnics, schools like high schools, primary schools. Got my first primary school that have just reached out to me. So I'm in this place of working out how to blend all of the things I'm super
Mm.
passionate about, a lot of which is prevention, like prevention education, so that we're not the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff all the time. Go upstream, do that work, and keep it innovative. Like I don't like stagnation.
Mm.
Like I really, it like contracts my whole fucking body. Like if every day was the same for me personally, that would not feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm continuing to find the ways to light up my soul, stay on my mission, but be like creative around it. So I'm also a wedding celebrant, which I really love because that's the creativity in writing the ceremony speeches, that's being in the essence of love and also weaving in, some of my other skills and stuff that I do. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. It's all of service. I do
Mm.
feel as if I'm here to be of service and also to continue to meet parts of myself. I'm so committed to my own growth. And in that then comes the avenues for new work, the ideas, the concepts, the expansion that then flows on into my business as well. Yeah.
Can
And
I
then here we are.
just, can I just ask, are you a generator with human design?
I'm a projector.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know much about projector, to be honest.
Interesting you'd say generator though. I get that.
Yeah, the reason
Yeah.
why I asked is because like with me, like I always want my hands in things, like different
Mhm.
pies, and I
Yeah.
think I'm the same as you, like a stagnant groundhog day would just send me up the wall.
Oh,
I
ugh.
would just be, yeah, that's like my nope. So I just kind of like that's why I thought, oh, I wonder if you're a generator, but projectors are quite interesting. So what, being a projector, what's the difference with that as a generator?
So different in my energy levels, like
Yes.
my energy levels are very different to a generator. But this has been the biggest learning for me as a projector who's in business. And it's all around like my big lesson is waiting for the invitation. So I will be sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, I have all these ideas and I have this and this and this. And then I'll like vomit it onto the world because I get so excited. And that often can deter people because it's like so much. And what I learned to do as a projector is to actually just create, be
Yeah.
in creativity and, have the things and trust that the invitation will come. And it's been so fascinating because this is the third like school or university that has reached out to me to present
Yes.
this. Whereas I sent an email to 45 schools in this area and I got no responses, which is like really
Yeah.
disappointing. But also could have gone to junk mail, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So when I tried to like, it didn't work. And instead I kind of sit back and I'm like, okay, like I'm over here, me, like the things that I have. And yeah, since doing that, that's really changed for me. Like I have a lot of people come to me to ask for collabs and co-creations. Like a
Mm.
lot of people come to me, hey, do you want to run this retreat? Do you want to run this workshop? Do you want to do this? And that helps me to kind of dilute that past hyper independence thing that I had going on as well. But being open to receive the invitations, like being
Yeah.
open and not this like tunnel vision and not this I'm me, I'm good, like nobody fuck with me, which again, like past me. Yeah, that's changed a lot for me, just kind of grasping that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, when I had human, it's great that I get to know you in that way as well. I just thought you might have been a generator because I was like, oh, that sounds like me with different like, fingers and different pies. But I remember when I had a human design reading done and I was like, holy shit, that's me to a T. Like,
Mm-hmm.
going into the blueprint and stuff. And it has to
Mm-hmm.
be a fuck yes for me. Otherwise it's nah, because I've got so many different ideas all the time with that creativity. The other question I was thinking about asking you was when it comes to say like, 8 to 10 years of growth from that, from that kind of moment of it's funny the network marketing too. It's like network marketing get you involved and it's
Oh,
like, let's
great.
work on the mindset and then
Great
minds
segue to personal development.
and it's probably similar because what year were you born?
1990.
Yeah, so it's funny, isn't it? Because I'm 1990, so it's
Yeah.
like you and I were probably similar timing to like
Yeah.
you were in New Zealand and you got your network marketing stuff, and I was in the UK, and now I'm here. So it's like kind of this
Mm-hmm.
it's like similarity, which is really, really cool. That's probably why we had that resonance from the get-go and
Totally.
had that to start the podcast
Similar
stuff.
journey.
Just yeah, like leading us down this path. I think it's fascinating how you can, no matter what, all the choices have led you to this moment. So you just trust all the choices and the things
I
that
love
happen as
thinking
you
about
move.
that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So through so say like the last 10 years of growth and Reiki and somatic stuff and like moving all through your journey, what would you say has been three of your highlights?
Oof.
And I say
Uh,
three because I said one, you'd be like, oh, so I'm giving you three. I'm being
yeah,
generous.
three. Okay, okay. Um, Highlights. Like now having like universities and schools and stuff want to get me in to educate them on
Yeah.
being trauma informed.
Yeah.
Like this feels really big and really fucking exciting for the fact that people are asking
Yeah.
for this information and this education. And I'm really passionate about supporting teachers because I fucking know what it was like.
Yeah.
So like this real time is really cool and I really love it. Um, yeah, the trip to Vegas was incredible. That's when Mel Robbins was the keynote speaker at a leadership conference that I went to. I really feel as if that trip like went in terms
Yeah.
of what I thought could be possible. You know, and this was like a couple of months after my marriage separation. Even the fact I like got the money together to go over there, I don't even know how I did it. I just fucking decided. And I remember like flying over there, and it was the first solo trip I'd ever done as well as an adult. Because I'd always traveled like with my ex-husband and our kids and everything. So like the solo trip to Las Vegas and then getting there and we stayed at the MGM, which was beautiful. And I just remember being there. I still remember it being like, holy
Holy
fuck, like
shit.
I
Yeah.
chose this.
Yeah.
Like I fucking chose this. Like I chose this life, and I chose to go big.
Yeah.
Even when so many people would have been like, I took shit from my ex-husband for making those choices. And, it would have been
Yeah.
so easy to not, like so easy just to go, that's in the too hard basket. But that was one of the moments over the last few years of me going, I'm going to do the thing that is uncomfortable because I
Yeah.
feel like it's going to lead me to the next version of me that I
Mm.
need to be. Um, and it did, like 100%. Yeah. Okay, what else? That's two of them. Uh, yeah, doing my somatic therapy training.
Yeah.
Um, that has been huge,
Yeah.
like huge, yeah, in terms of my understanding around us as humans and
Yeah.
understanding around trauma and the nervous system and again like choosing to take on study when I was already so full in my life, but just listening to the nudges, listening and following my intuition completely, knowing that it was something that really wanted to be in my life, and then the follow on from that, like the incredible sessions that I had with clients that would just fucking blow your mind,
Yeah.
like I share some of the things and people can't even comprehend it because it's just it makes sense completely when you understand somatic therapy. But yeah, the responses from clients when they've spent 20 years in therapy, or they've seen all the doctors that
Yeah.
they possibly
Yeah.
can, they've gone down every single other road, and then they come and see me and their lives are changed.
Yes.
So yeah, the decision to do that study
It's
has
life
been massive.
changing. Yeah.
Yeah, life changing. Yeah.
Okay, another question to throw at you. It's like I didn't even give you these for prep, so I'm just throwing them at you.
I love it. I'm so
Throughout your
good.
life, what are you most proud of?
Stopping a cycle of abuse in my family.
Yeah.
100%. There were countless mothers before me that abused their children's,
Yeah.
and there were constant abuse that occurred throughout all of those generation lines.
Mhm.
There have been endless amounts of mothers and fathers who struggled with drug addiction, and mental illness and so many things. Like on both sides, but predominantly my mother's side,
Yeah.
there's so much trauma.
Mm.
And I live as a mother who is loving and
Mm.
caring and does not physically, emotionally,
Yeah.
mentally abuse my
Mm.
children, and who is not addicted to drugs and is not homeless. And also I don't have any mental health diagnosis. So that's fucking huge. And
Mm.
doing it like doing that healing in present time constantly so that I continue to not only just break the cycle, not be like, oh, the cycle's broken, but continue to move through and heal parts of me so that my children don't have to do that work, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said there's so many of us going through that generational break, aren't we? Like we're saying no more, like we're the breakers of chains.
I actually was 20 years old and I was pregnant with ED. And I sat down with my mother and my brother and my sister, and this was the family unit that was just so much abuse and violence. And I sat down and I said, "This stops with me. My child will not experience this." And when I look back, I think, "Fuck!" The fact I had the guts to say
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
because we
yeah.
didn't even talk about it. Like we didn't. It'd be absolute fucking chaos, and there'd be police, and there'd be like court cases, and there'd be
Yeah.
like violence and all of this. And then when it wasn't that, we didn't talk about it. You know, it's like, oh, that, you know, it just didn't happen. So for me to actually come into the space and first of all, actually speak into it, into the
Mm.
abuse, but say, this ends with me, like no more.
I think
Um,
you get some, you have some sort of like inner strength that comes when you're pregnant. Because I've felt like that. I mean, obviously, I've didn't have abusive parents, but when it comes just in general, your tolerance for bullshit and your tolerance for
yeah,
toxic shit becomes like that. And I think from like my husband's perspective as well, his tolerance, like I've got a child on the way, like you just become this extra, like I don't know, it's like that again, that rite of passage. You move into made into
yeah,
mother, so you get extra protective. You're on guard a little bit. So I think I've been feeling that a lot, and I've reached out in the conscious mums group and been like, has your tolerance kind of changed? They're all like, yes. You don't put up with bullshit, so that makes so much sense with like you being pregnant with Edie and being like, no more, like that boundary set, and like you stuck to it as it's like to stick to it too, that takes so much inner strength.
yeah. And all three of those people are not in my life anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just an easy choice. It was,
Yeah.
I'm going to stay so true to this that I now am in, you know, like the grief of three of my family members that
Yeah.
aren't in my life, actively in my life. But it's going like, I'm going to choose this because it's not about me anymore.
Mm.
You know, it's got to be more than you. And, you know, it isn't the case with every parents that have babies. You know, my mother didn't do that. She didn't stop. Like, you know,
No.
she
Yeah.
didn't do any of that. And so, like, this is our hope is that, you know, when you realize that you have children that are your responsibility as well, that you do make those changes, you know, and do put those boundaries in place when it comes to it. Doesn't happen in every situation.
Yeah.
My wish and my hope is that it does inspire people to do better because our
Yeah.
children deserve to do better.
Mm. Yeah. So many families just struggle with that, don't they? Like, feeling guilt because, I've not got grandma in life or grandpa in life or, auntie and uncles, but you did that for more than just yourself. You did it for, like you said, your future generations and your grandkids as well. You know what I mean? You don't realize the impact you have on your future. And that's going to be my next question for you is I get some good questions in my head when I'm doing little interviews. I just love it. So, so you've had so much go on your past, which a lot of listeners have heard. And if you haven't listened to the previous episodes, definitely go back. Chowie and I definitely go into a lot of our childhood stuff. So my question is, because you can play this back whenever, if you can give future Chowie a message, what would you say to
Go get it, girl.
her?
There's been actually this one phrase that keeps coming up constantly when I go into, so like I spent a lot of time with her the other day. I was like sitting down and we were hanging out, future me. And it's just like, you've got this, baby girl. Like
Yeah.
that is just like the thing that keeps coming in of like, you've got this. Like you've just fucking got this. Like
Yeah.
you're all good.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, so I'm doing like daily meditations at the moment, and a lot of it is going and spending time in the future. And the thing that I often pick up from like future me is I feel a lot of peace. We are talking about this before, like a lot of peace in my body right now, and in my life. However, that's definitely something that she's even more dropped into just as a
yeah.
circumstance, as a byproduct of, you know, creating more revenue, creating more time, like all of these things, just a lot more in peace Whereas right now I'm in like momentum mode, you know, and
Yeah.
I'm putting myself in all the places to get to the point to really leverage time and income and stuff. And so I hang out with her often, and she just like strokes my face and you know, and is like, you just keep trusting, keep doing what you're doing, keep coming back to your heart, you know, keep committed to the work, and everything that you can see plus some is inevitable. It's just inevitable. Like there's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, it's that's actually really good. Like, because we do so much past stuff, don't we, in somatic therapy? Like, we need to spend more time with future self because future self, she's badass. It's like
I love it.
it, like I imagine me and you being like 60 and we're looking back at our podcast going,
Oh,
"Oh my God, listen to us when we were in our 30s and now we're 60," and we're like, just
I I sent Michael this reel the other day, and it's of this husband and wife in their like 60s and 70s in like a hardware store. And it's just like they like he goes up and the guy goes up and like smacks the thing into place. And then she like you turn around and she's like got her ass out. And I was like, you better believe that this is what it is gonna be like. He's like, I
yeah,
have no doubt, baby.
yeah,
Like I'm fucking in it. Um and yeah, so yeah, I love that point that you've made. And it is a really important thing because we can, you know, when we're in this work, we can focus so much on
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 past,
how
yeah,
we got here, which is so important, you know, it's
yeah,
super important. But what's been super healing for me and motivating for me is like daily I'm going into meditations and I'm going into like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the track. And I'm seeing and I'm feeling and there's one image, it's through these meditations I used to do of this, there's this house, like it's my house. I've seen it for like 6 years. It's my house, it's my future house. Um, but it's just the moment when like me, future me, opens the door to
yeah.
like me now. And I see her like, and it's funny because my hair's brown, completely brown. Like there's no other colors in it. It's brown and it's long and it's wavy, and I'm wearing this white outfit, and I always, and I come back to her, and it is this, you know, yeah, we do this inner child work, and we go back and we look after them. However, the beauty of like checking in with her and allowing her to come in and spend time with us and encourage us and motivate us and have these conversations, because it then starts to just infiltrate your whole being, like your whole mind, is that all that we're doing is taking steps closer to those things.
Yeah.
And also like I started playing around with timelines recently. And it's funny because Michael and Ryan have been doing this in their business as well. They've just brought their like 3-year business plan to like the next year, because I was having this conversation, or not because of this conversation, but also having this conversation. I said, like, why don't we, when we're doing like our manifestation, just like pull everything forward? There's going to be no harm in it. You know, it might be like, oh shit, like now we're
Yeah.
going and everything. But even just playing around with future timelines has been
Mm.
something that I have been really enjoying. You know, and because time and space are malleable, and often
Yeah.
we think that they're not, and so it's playing around with, yeah, being even more so in the experience of what you want to feel like, but just pulling it forward and forward
Mm.
and forward and forward. And then like now a lot of my future visualizations, they're in this house, so that house
Mm.
still exists, like it's still there, and I go and visit it sometimes, but a lot of my visions now are in this house. Like I have this really cool vision of writing on my whiteboard to the kids, we're going to Fiji, and
Oh yeah.
surprising them with a trip to Fiji. And just like little stuff like that, that now I'm bringing it to here, which is, oh, I fucking love it. Like
It's
oh,
exciting. It
it's
keeps you just yeah, that's what life's about. And I think when you talk about
play
the
with it.
past and the future, it's like I always envisioned it as like when you look back, it's familiar, a lot of it's familiar because you've been there, and it's, a lot of it, again, that safety's there as well for some people. Sometimes it's not safe for people, but going forward, where you don't really know what the path holds, like you can see a few things a few days ahead, like some trees or whatever, and you can see like I see a path, but what's beyond that, we don't know. So that's kind of like why it freaks us out because we're like, oh shit, like future's
I love
so
it.
unknown, but I love that shit because I'm like, just
Yeah.
take me where I'm meant to go. And like you said, pulling in, like, imagine just like
Mm-hmm.
pulling the path towards you like this, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really important. Like you said, balancing the two, like, yeah, it's really important to go to the past, but it's
Mhm.
also important to go to the future. What does that look like? And where do you see it going? So
Mhm.
that's my question to you. So with your work and how you're learning and growing all the time, where do you see your work going in the next few years?
Okay, so I've seen a few visions. I've seen one vision. Oh, first of all, I'm gonna own a house in Tuscany, apparently. I don't know why it's Tuscany. I've never been to Tuscany. I don't know what is happening, but Tuscany is calling me, and apparently there's a house there that's waiting for me. So that, but I've seen visions of being in France.
Mm,
So, and it's like this really beautiful room. It's really high up and it's like completely round room, and there's like windows on every single side of it. And I'm there and Michael's there, and we're holding space for couples and singles, but it's all around like conscious relating, and it's moving through somatically all of the like old debris of like separation between us, and this is like very high profile like influential people that
yeah.
have gone like, this is the next step of our evolution, we've got to break down this division between us. So yeah, holding these like amazing kind of workshop, well, not workshop's not the right word, like fucking portals
Yeah.
for really people to participate in the ignition of conscious relating.
Yeah.
Like conscious relating is definitely it is a concept, a feeling, a truth that is 100% part of my dharma. Like
Mm,
I know it and I can feel it. And so that is definitely something that I will gift the world with, in a multitude of ways, connecting to our sensuality, sexuality, communication skills, breaking down past blocks, past life stuff, so that there can be more unions. I really felt this for a long time, that we've been in this really imbalanced energy within our society where the wounded masculine has played a really big part for a really long time, and it's totally like imbalanced us individually and us as a collective. It's the hyper independent woman, it's the wounded man, it's the males taking their
yeah.
lives, like it's all this stuff, right? And then also the byproduct of that was the wounded feminine, that's the angry woman, it's the not being attached to our emotions, but it's been like a power dynamic, a
Mm,
power play, and we, in order to create space for healing and going forward, like as the feminine, what has been asked of us is to soften and create space
mm,
for the masculine to actually heal. And we've done our work, we've created the capacity to just then hold and acknowledge and care the true masculine, not the wounded version, like the true essence of that energy, which is so fucking powerful. And I can feel it. Like I can feel it now. This is where we're at now. This is what I feel. And so we're kind of like, we're like, whew. And so then what I can feel next in our evolution
mm,
is divine union, like
yeah.
divine union on a mass scale, so that we can heal and blend together,
Mm,
not only the masculine, feminine, like in individuals together, but us, like us within us, really heal on a micro level,
yeah.
the different energies that make us up. And I feel and I know that I'm here to play a big part in that and to really help the blending of that. Um, I've also like seen visions of blowjob workshops.
Of course you have.
And like really fun things, like really fun, like sexy things as well that are going to be really cool. Yeah, I've seen some lovely like visions of me being on stages and there being a lot of people, and like my children being there, and my children really seeing this permission slip of like,
Mm,
you fucking do you in your authentic expression. The sky is the fucking limit and beyond. Lots of beautiful moments of that too. I've seen Michael and I doing weddings together,
mm.
because he's an MC, and if you don't know, MC auctioneer. And it's funny because I already have someone in that I know that is waiting to get engaged, so then she can have us both as her
That's
celebrant. She's like, I've
awesome.
seen these visions. Yeah, so I'd love for us to have like a whole totally like different business where we do weddings, but it's both of us, and like he would speak into their love and I would speak into their love, and
Yeah,
we'll have
masculine and
like
feminine, yeah.
duo poetry because we both write poetry and then we can both do energy work.
It'd be
Just
awesome. Oh my
be
God. Yeah.
like so incredible.
What a
Like we've
niche
talked
that
about
would be.
before.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I know. And like traveling all around the world, just doing these
Yeah.
amazing like weddings and stuff. Yeah, so that's really cool. Um, yeah, and so also in this complete surrender to like this is what I can see right now and fucking whatever else,
Yeah.
and whatever else,
Be
I
open
I
to it.
know that yeah, and I like I've got really great leadership skills, and I know that that's part of it, but also that leadership looks different in different places.
Yeah.
Sometimes that
Mm.
leadership is just super fucking soft, and sometimes it's like planting the seeds that will grow later, but like bigger and more, like reaching more people, like
Mm.
speaking more, learning more, growing more, and trusting where the path takes me and saying yes to what's a yes and knowing to say no to what's a no.
Yeah. Mm. You can just tell it's like such hard work because you're so passionate. You light up about it when you talk about
Oh,
it. You just
I
you know when it
I
comes from the
fucking
heart because you're
love
just
what
like,
I do.
ah, you just get so like, oh yeah, it's awesome.
The one other thing in the vision too is the rites of passage program that I've started.
Yeah.
So that being nationwide, like that
Yeah.
being nationwide throughout New Zealand, and we're well on our way to that. That's kind of like next couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, really having a massive impact on our youth suicide stats here in New Zealand for our young men. And like, but a lot of that is the men taking those roles. Like I kind of just have to still be there and keep it
Mhm.
motivated and create the systems and do all of that stuff. However, that will be like a heart mission that then I get to gift to the communities, and I'm not like super involved in, which is how it was always meant to be. But that's something that I know I'm going to be able to sit there and
Mhm.
go, fuck, I'm so glad I spent 2 years, getting this
Yeah.
up and going. And I committed to the vision, because our societies and our communities need it. Like our young men need it.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's awesome. That's exciting. Like all them visions, like just I can't wait to hear when they're like, that's coming true. Oh my God, we're doing this, we're
I
doing
know.
that. I just can't wait.
Mhm.
So, to finish up, is there anything on your heart that you would like to share with the listeners?
Uh, Coming out of a rebirthing breathwork experience today, which was super potent, super powerful, the thing that it's left me with, and this is the message that I just want to share with, is that I know without a shadow of a doubt that anyone can totally change their life, totally
Mm.
change their circumstances, totally change their programming, totally change their nervous system patterning. Like all of these things are possible, non-dependent on everything that has happened leading up to this point. I have absolute faith because I am the living evidence of it. Like
Mm.
I know this, and I know that it was part of my path. Speaking to Pauline, who did my rebirthing today, she was like, oh, honey, you got big missions in this life to have experienced what you did and survived. Most people would not
Yeah.
have survived,
Mm.
let alone be doing what you're doing. And I want that to be a message of hope and encouragement. That's my intention for it, is that wherever you're at in your life, that through finding the spaces, the modalities, the mentors, whoever it is, integrating practices, you can drastically change your life.
Yeah.
Like you can. You're so much more fucking powerful than you have been led to believe. And then your stories are telling you that you are.
Yeah. Yeah. So needed. I know. Well, what a beautiful guest to have on the show today.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.
I love hanging out with you.
Yeah, it's been great getting to know you even that like deep, like because we talk all the time, don't we? But it's like when we ask them certain questions, it's nice to know those intimate, intimate answers. So I really hope you've enjoyed getting to know Showie's story today and where her magic is going to lead her. And I'm excited to see where that's going to go. And I'll be watching. And it's awesome.
Me
Just, yeah.
too.
And thanks so much for listening, guys. We'll be back soon with another episode. Also, let us know if you got any topics you want us to cover because we love getting requests. It gives us
Mm.
something to kind of tune into, meditate on, things like that. So yeah, we'll be back soon. Love you all.
And also, share us with a friend. You know, I've had a lot of people get in touch and say, I really love the podcast. I love this. I love that. Go and share it, because there are so many people that need these conversations. And that is what you can do to really help. Do what you can right now to be able
Yeah.
to help people receive the messages they need to receive as well.
Yep. Just
Yeah.
one person. Yep.
Mm. Thanks, friends. Love you.
Thank you. Love you.